Beth.
How are you?
Wonderful. Even better now that I see your lovely face. How are you?
Great. Always happy when we're on the podcast.
Love it.
Always the best part of my week.
Absolutely.
So, I wanted to talk today about the Image.sc forum.
Ooh.
Because
Oh,
that is a thing that we often recommend people like, oh, hey, like go get some help from the Image.sc forum. But what is it? How do you use it? How do you find it? And then how do you post there so that you can get help? I thought would be a really valuable thing to actually walk people through.
that sounds great.
All right, I'm going to share my screen. Um, this is the Image.sc forum. You can find it at forum.image.sc. You can also just go to image.sc and that will work. What this is, is originally started as the merger of the ImageJ and the CellProfiler forums. But what it has now turned into is this place where all of these different software tools, as well as organizations that care about things like image analysis, all come together and they have one central help forum.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. I wish this had existed when I was still in school. This would have made a lot of things in my life so much simpler. Um, because what you can do is you can just upload a picture and you can say, here's my picture. Here's my question. Can somebody help me? And you don't even necessarily have to know what is the right tool for you. Like, this is a lot of tools. Like, how do I know if the best way to solve my problem is actually ImageJ or CellProfiler or Napari or something else? So this way, you don't actually need to know. You can just go to one place and say, hey, look, here's my picture, here's my question. I would like some help.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. If you know what tool you want to use, you can click on an individual tool and you can find all of the things just for that tool. But which is great for if you already know what you're doing, but you can also just sort of post in one of these other categories. And so there's categories also for announcements, things like upcoming events, or things that we think are going to be cool for you to watch or read, things like job opportunities. Um, there's even a category for positive posts or for blog posts or for Hi, my name is, where you can just introduce yourself to the community.
Nice.
It's actually a really lovely and friendly place to be. And I want to say, like, we have especially emphasized to everybody who posts there that, like, this is a place for beginners. Like, this, we want this to be very beginner friendly. Like, you don't need to be an expert about image analysis to hang out here. You just need to have an image and a question. Um,
That's wonderful. And also, I guess then worth pointing out that uh we absolutely welcome, as you said, like absolutely welcome beginners, but there are also people that hang out here that are not beginners that are actually like some of
mhm,
the most experts in the field,
mhm,
whether in image analysis in general or the creators of these tools. Um,
mhm,
our many people in our lab hang out on watching watching for cell profiler questions a lot. And like we
mhm,
make the tool. So we're here to, like we are the experts in helping you with cell profiler questions. And so, we
mhm,
hang out here. This is the place to ask those sorts of
mhm,
questions. So you can like please, beginners, come ask questions. And then
mhm,
also, like, know that you're not sort of eh, posting into a void or posting to a
mhm.
bunch of other people who don't know how to help you. Like, there are people here who do know how to help and want to help.
Yeah. There are, in fact, people who post many times per week or even say thousands of times per year. So creators of individual tools, like Pete Bankhead is the creator of QPath. Curtis Rudin is one of the main developers of ImageJ. All here hanging out to answer your questions. So we hope that this is a valuable resource for you. It's a reason that we sort of um, point people at it a lot. And because this is the merger of a lot of posts that have now accumulated over the years. This forum is about 7 years old, and the CellProfiler ImageJ forums go back at least a decade before that. Good news is there's already a lot of information there. So if you're not sure like how to actually find things that you want to know about, the first thing I would recommend that you do is just search. There are tens of thousands of posts here. Um, so you can just search a thing and see if anybody has already posted about the question that you have, or if you're getting an error message you don't understand. You can you can post the error message and search and see if maybe somebody's already solved it. And one of the things I do like about how this forum software works, which is a platform called Discourse, um, is you can actually say, hey, um, this is solved by this. And
Nice.
so you can actually go through and find what the solution is. Uh, so hopefully your question is already solved. But if it isn't, then we can also talk about how to actually write a post, because that can be scary, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, the asking for help in general can be a scary thing, and especially if you are new to I,
Hmm.
I mean, we promise you that people here are nice, but like, hey,
Hmm.
go to a new place on the internet and expect nice people, like that's kind of a maybe
Yeah.
not a given. So
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
can understand why it would feel maybe more than a little intimidating
Hmm.
to be new to the forum and asking for help, wanting help with
Hmm.
a question.
Yeah. Um, so with that in mind, I've actually written up some example forum posts that we can talk through in terms of like how can you get the best help on the Image.sc forum. Um, and what I hope to sort of emphasize here is not like you must follow a strict protocol, just sort of like some general best practices. So the first general best practice is don't be a jerk. Um, if you're a jerk, people are not going to want to help you. The people who hang out in this forum are generally wonderful, lovely people, and they understand that generally if you're asking for help, you're not in your happiest of places. But they're usually doing this for free on their own time, and if are not nice to them, their incentive to help you is maybe not going to be so high.
Yeah, yeah. And we can speak from personal experience that the one of the fastest ways to get us to not work on a thing is to be rude to us. Like
Yeah.
we love
Hmm.
helping people. And so, if you
Hmm.
say like, "Hey," you say, "Hey, I could really use your help. Thank you for your time." We're like, "Yeah." And if
Hmm.
you write a message like this, I am deprioritizing what you have asked for,
Yeah.
even if I'm already
So,
working on it.
yeah. So just, like basic common sense. Don't be mean.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing that I want to say in terms of like, please try not to do this. Think about what you post before you post it. Um, when you post information on the forum, you are actually posting it without as sort of CC0 license. So what that means is anybody should be able to use the things that you put. Um, and it's important for that. And I want to come back to this idea of people can search and can look and can get their questions answered, and you can get your questions answered from the things that people asked before you. So if as soon as you get helped, you pull that post down, you're making the community worse for the person who comes after you, not better. So we will generally not agree to take down posts. It's pretty rare that we will actually ever take them down. Um, so if you don't want to post under your real name, that's fine. You don't have to post under your real name. If you don't want to explain your real biology, and I'll talk about this more in a second, you don't have to explain your real biology. You can just sort of post a picture and say, I want to find this thing. um, but don't go out and ask for help and then say, I'm gonna take this help away from the community now that I'm personally settled. if emergencies happen, we are reasonable. We will consider takedown requests, but most of them are not granted.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you said it right there, the word community. Like, do remember, like you are a part of a community and we are welcoming you with open arms into our community. But
Mhm.
every community that is a hard word to get out of my mouth right now, apparently. Every community member does have a level of responsibility to care for the other members of their community.
Yeah. But I definitely want to emphasize, like, you don't actually need to tell us much about you don't information that would actually lead to you being scooped or other things that might make your boss unhappy. Um, so in fact, if you're asking for a workflow and what you say is, here's what I study, here's my biology, probably that's not actually going to get you what you want because now you're limiting, A, you're putting out information that maybe you don't want out there, but also B, you're asking for only like this tiny community of people who study the exact thing that you study, which might not be very many people. Um, so it is actually better for you getting an answer, in addition to, your boss being less worried about putting information that you get scooped, that you say, hey, I want to find the red dots in this picture. Here's a screenshot of the thing I want to find. Do
Yeah.
you have a suggestion for what might be able to do this? This is actually a better post and is less likely to get you scooped than this post.
Yeah, yeah. And we talked about another Ask Erin, Dear Beth episode where we talked about finding spots in images, the
Mhm.
sparkle episode, as I like to call it. And I think, there we sort of similar themes in that like it doesn't really matter what your spot is. It could be a telomere, it could be a DNA role-in and barcoding, it could be a peroxisome. I don't know. Like none of that really matters. It's the same sort of principles of
Mhm.
I want to find a small punctate object in an image.
Mhm.
And so
All sparkles are special, is what you're telling me?
absolutely, absolutely. And so this is
Mhm.
this is a great example of that.
Yeah. Um, and a screenshot is great for just sort of saying like, hey, I want you to be able to visualize and take a look at like what's going on. I will say, and we've talked about this in previous Ask Erin, Dear Beth episodes, specifically the one about ugly images. Screenshots are often not good for actually doing the analysis. So if you want somebody to try to come up with a workflow for you or help you come up with a workflow, it's great to have a screenshot in the web app just to like see what the thing is. But linking the images is also really helpful. So that somebody can actually, oftentimes people will just like write you an ImageJ macro or make you a CellProfiler pipeline. Like they will just like do it for you if they think that sounds fun. But they
You
can't
know,
do that for you if all you've given them is a screenshot.
Yeah, and just to be clear, like we're big nerds. Like we do actually find that fun. Like we will
Oh
go
yeah.
make other people's image analysis pipelines for fun.
I think they figured out we're big nerds by the fact that we have a podcast about image analysis.
Okay.
But like, um, and if you say there are particular programs that you want, you can tag those programs in your post, and people will generally not be. They will certainly say like, "Oh, I know you said you want ImageJ, but like this would be super easy in QPath." But people will generally try to give you what you ask for if you ask for it nicely and in a way that's sort of like easy to follow. Um, so just a couple other examples, and we can post a PDF of this as part of the show notes, but just for what some other common kinds of posts. I would say the most common kinds of posts are either sort of like besides things like here's a job opportunity, are people asking for workflows, people asking for help fixing a workflow, or people who are encountering bugs they don't understand. Those are at least the reasons I end up on the forum sort of asking questions of other people. Um, so for fixing a workflow, we often need a little bit more information. So here is an example of like the person has said like, here's a link to my pipeline, but all they're telling us about what's going wrong is that it doesn't work. It not really easy for me to know what doesn't work. Is it throwing a error? Is it like not finding the right things? Like, what do you mean it doesn't work? I will hopefully be able to ask you follow-up questions, but if I don't need to ask you follow-up questions, I can just solve it right away. I can solve it for you right away. Um, so a better thing is at least sort of giving you saying a post here where I'm saying, um, here is a link to the pipeline as well as an image so that the person could actually try to run CellProfiler and figure out why it's not working. That would at least be better as opposed to just like it doesn't work. Um, but the more information that you give, within reason, we don't need to know your like whole life story, but if you can tell us more about like what specifically isn't working, the more likely we can help you. So if here I'm saying like, here's the pipeline, here specifically is what isn't is good versus not good. And this can be really important because a lot of times people will be like, oh, well, find the cells or find the object. Like, we don't necessarily know what your cells look like, what your biology looks like. So like tell us like there are small spots on the top right that are good, and the ones that are on the bottom left are bad. Um, you know, assume that we're smart, but not necessarily know what you do for a living.
Yeah. And
Um,
even on top of this, one could, I mean, I think this is a great example that's super descriptive, like great example of describing what's good and what's bad. But you can take, you know, take that input image and even do, give us a little annotation, go into MS Paint or, whatever, and draw circles around the objects as you would want CellProfiler to find them so that we can
yeah.
understand. Because there are biological tasks where maybe somebody actually does want that identified as a clump. So when you can specifically say, no, actually, I should be finding 8 individual dots here rather than this clump of signal.
Mhm,
That can be really helpful, again, for communicating even more directly. Like,
mhm.
draw it out yourself.
Yeah. And people generally are really friendly and they will be happy to sort of ask follow-up questions, but the fewer follow-up questions they have to ask, the faster you get your answer. And similar themes when it's sort of reporting a bug. Um, if you just tell us that there is an error, we don't really know what error it might be or why it might be happening. You're saying it's working on one computer but not another, but like, I don't know. Are they using the same version of CellProfiler, the same kind of computer? Um, and so it can be better to say, hey, this is the version of CellProfiler I'm using, this is the operating system I'm using, um, and I'm getting this specific error. Um, can you help me figure it out? Like, this is already so much more information. And depending, like, maybe could help you. Um, but it's great if you're getting an error to not just post a screenshot of it, but also post the text. And that's because of that searchability that I mentioned. Like, if you post the text and if you search the text, then that's way easier. I mean, maybe by 3 years from now, all of the images will be sort of like indexed, but let's assume that they're not now. If you search the text and include the text, it's way easier for somebody to sort of be able to figure out if somebody's had that error before. Um, and here they're saying, what kind of computer it is, that it was working, but then we renamed things and it stopped working. The more information you give us about what was happening, or that it's happening on all of the images, not just some of the images, then like the more likely we can help you. Um, So you can see none of these posts were very long. They don't need to be incredibly elaborate, but just giving us the basic information. We will do our best to sort of really help you get unstuck and get going.
Absolutely. And,
Because yeah,
all of these are written as CellProfiler examples because obviously that's where we hang out the most. But the,
mhm,
exact same principles apply for any other tool that is being
mhm,
talked about on the forum. So you can find and replace CellProfiler with any of those other tools and follow these same suggestions. We're not giving, again, not rules, but suggestions for how to get the best help.
yeah. And I just really want to say, as Erin pointed out, We are nerds. We like talking about this stuff. We like helping people. And so don't worry about being perfect. The best forum post is the one that you actually write, not the one that you thought about in your head for a while and then we're like, oh, this is too scary. I give up. Like, just come there, be friendly and nice, give us some information, and we will figure out what we don't know and what we need to find out from you, and we will get you help. Um, because that is what we're here to do.
Absolutely.
Anything else you would add?
Gosh, I think that covers it. I mean, just just say one more time, like, please come to the forum. Please ask us questions. Use it as a tool. We want you here. You are welcome in this community, no matter your level of expertise.
What a lovely note to close on. Thank you so much, Erin. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Beth. You too, dear.
Bye.